What if the people closest to you are the very ones preventing your peace? It's a gut-wrenching thought, one most of us would rather avoid. But sometimes the hardest choices in life don't involve strangers or casual acquaintances. They involve the people we've known the longest, the ones we grew up with, the ones we've shared history, laughter, and countless memories with. Yet over time, relationships evolve, and not always for the better. Maybe you've felt it, the slow creep of anxiety around someone you once trusted, the subtle shift from feeling seen to feeling judged, the constant drain instead of support. Navigating this kind of emotional terrain isn't easy. When it's family or a lifelong friend, the stakes feel impossibly high. The guilt, the fear of confrontation, the weight of history, they all cloud your judgment. But what if there was a way to gain clarity? This is where Stoicism steps in. An ancient philosophy built not just on enduring hardship, but on thriving through it with wisdom, strength, and self-awareness. It reminds us to protect our peace and prioritize our inner world, no matter what's happening externally. As the Stoic philosopher Cleanthes once said, "You become like the people you spend the most time with." That quote alone is a wake-up call. This video is about recognizing when something's no longer right, even if it once was. Here are 11 signs it might be time to step away, even from those who've meant the most. There's a quiet kind of suffocation that happens when you're in relationships that no longer support your growth. You start to feel stuck, like every time you take a step forward, someone's tugging you 2 steps back. It's not always overt sabotage. Sometimes it's the offhand comments, the eye rolls, the lack of enthusiasm when you share something you're proud of. Instead of encouragement, you're met with resistance. Instead of support, you get silence or subtle shade. Over time, it chips away at your confidence and dims your drive. Seneca, a prominent Stoic thinker, believed that progress was one of the highest goods in life. He said, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." Personal evolution isn't just natural, it's necessary, and the people closest to you should fuel that, not fear it. So ask yourself, are they celebrating your growth or subtly resisting it? Because if they're uncomfortable with your progress, maybe they're more committed to who you were than who you're becoming. And that's a problem. Some relationships don't just fail to lift you, they actively weigh you down. You walk away from conversations feeling depleted, like you've just absorbed someone else's storm. It's not one bad day, or even a tough season. It's a pattern, a constant undercurrent of complaining, criticism, and pessimism that leaves little room for light. Negativity is contagious. It can infect even the most motivated mind, slowly shifting your focus from what's possible to what's wrong. And when you're surrounded by it regularly, it starts to shape how you see the world and yourself. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, put it simply, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." It's a powerful reminder that our inner peace is directly linked to what and who we expose our minds to. If being around someone consistently drags your spirit down, it's worth asking, is this connection feeding me or draining me? Because no matter how long they've been in your life, your peace and mental clarity are too important to sacrifice for someone else's perpetual storm. It's a subtle shift. Someone who used to cheer you on now questions your every win. They compare instead of celebrate, compete instead of support. Maybe they disguise it as jokes, passive-aggressive remarks, or backhanded compliments. But underneath, there's a pattern of sabotage, dimming your light so theirs seems brighter. True support uplifts. It doesn't keep score or resent your progress. If you're constantly second-guessing yourself after sharing good news with them, that's not a sign of closeness. It's a sign of competition. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." You can't control someone's jealousy, but you can control how much access it has to your peace. You don't feel heard, you feel handled. Their words sound supportive, but their actions say otherwise. Maybe it's guilt-tripping, silent treatment, or twisting your words to fit their narrative. You're left feeling confused, like your choices need to be run through someone else's filter. Manipulation erodes your autonomy. And in Stoicism, freedom isn't just about external circumstances, it's about mastering yourself. Epictetus said, "No one is free who is not master of himself." When someone controls your emotions or choices, they're not loving you, they're managing you. And love shouldn't feel like a leash. Boundaries are your lines in the sand, signals of what you value, what you need, and how you expect to be treated. When someone repeatedly crosses those lines, despite being told it's not a misunderstanding, it's a choice. Stoicism teaches, be firm with your virtue, gentle with others, but not at the cost of yourself. Your boundaries aren't barriers to connection, they're bridges to mutual respect. When someone ignores them, they're showing you they value access over respect. There's a difference between nerves and dread. When your gut tightens before seeing someone, when your energy drops just at the thought of interacting, that's your body speaking. And it's often more honest than your rationalizations. The Stoics believed in tuning into your internal signals, not dismissing them. If peace is what you seek, then notice when your body tenses and your spirit shrinks. It's not drama, it's data. Sometimes the wisest move is trusting that quiet discomfort. Because when someone's presence brings tension more than ease, it's time to listen to what your nervous system already knows. Some people don't just live with conflict, they feed off it. There's always a crisis, a feud, a new enemy to blame. Peace feels like an uncomfortable silence they're eager to break. And if you find yourself constantly pulled into their chaos, it's more than just bad luck. It's a pattern. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." You don't need to fight fire with fire, but you do need to stop lighting the match with your presence. Peaceful living requires peaceful company. Your values are the compass of your life, whether it's your career path, your beliefs, your creativity, or your healing journey. Those things matter. If someone mocks or minimizes them, it's not just disrespectful, it's damaging. The Stoics taught that living in accordance with your nature is the path to inner peace. If someone continually chips away at that foundation, it corrodes your soul from within. You stay, not because it feels right, but because you feel obligated. Guilt becomes the glue holding everything together. But there's a difference between loyalty and self-sacrifice. Real connection isn't built on emotional debt. Seneca reminds us, true loyalty arises from mutual respect, not guilt. When guilt is the driving force, both people lose, especially you. You're reaching out, you're checking in, you're holding space. But what's coming back? Relationships should be a two-way current, not a one-person show. Stoicism values the sacredness of time and emotional energy. Ask yourself, are they choosing you or just receiving what you offer? If the effort's not mutual, the connection isn't either. This one cuts deep. When you start shrinking around someone, hiding your joy, biting your tongue, or shape-shifting just to keep the peace, it's not a relationship, it's a performance. The Stoics held integrity as sacred, to live as your true self, consistently, unapologetically. If being around someone makes you dim your light or deny your truth, it's not love, it's conformity. You should never have to abandon yourself just to be accepted. Letting go of a relationship doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you start choosing peace. It means you stop watering connections that are rooted in pain, guilt, or resistance, and start honoring your own growth. Stoic wisdom reminds us, you don't control others, you only control how long you allow them to disrupt your peace. Ending something familiar is never easy, but it's often the bravest move you'll make, not because you're giving up, but because you're finally showing up for yourself. So take a breath, reflect. Which of these signs showed up in your life, and what does your higher self need from you today? If this resonated, share it with someone who might need it. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you're walking the path of clarity, self-respect, and stoic living, hit subscribe. More wisdom is on the way on the